Oh my goodness. All right. So apparently we've got Tim Pool here. He's talking about it says liberal YouTuber rage quits. And he's talking about David Pakman, who I guess is, gotten a lot of criticism lately for a few different reasons, a couple of which we're going to get into. So this should be fun. We'll see how it goes. But I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. All right, so like I was saying, there you got this video here of Tim Pool talking about David Pakman, and this is like a particular kind of irony that is just sort of hilarious. We're gonna get into it, but I'll let a little Timmy here, introduce what's going on.
Has left the left. Of all the we really did win, didn't we? David Pakman has left the left. Of all the people.
Yeah, you won. You won all right, as everything crumbles around us, and nothing got fixed that was claimed to, that Trump claimed he was going to fix, and whatever.
Clip for you so you can hear for yourself. There's a little nuance to it, but listen, he's concerned. Nobody wants to just dive right in. Even Anna Kasparian was slow about being like the left has gone nuts. Even Dave Rubin was not, just an overnight thing. David Pakman is now exhibiting the basics of leaving the left. When did you guys know that when
the basics of leaving the left? Yeah, I don't. Okay.
That viral video from Prager went out called "Why I Left the Left" from Dave Rubin. Dave didn't actually intend on stating that phrase, "I left the left." Dave's intention
but it's catchy, it's catchy because it's got the word left twice in two different contexts. It's got it's just catchy.
And that video was the left is bad. And the interpretation that they took was that Dave had left the left. And so
that is so Dave Rubin too. What Dave Rubin meant to say was the left bad. Just bad. Have you seen his videos? They're 5 minutes long. Like he has like his regular streams or whatever. And I guess those go on kind of like our, mine does here. I don't really do clips. Like I guess I need to start, don't I? But his clips are like 5 minutes long. I think because nobody will watch to the end otherwise, because it's just nobody cares. And Dave Rubin is one of those people that was so dumb because he's gay and he's married to a man with a child. And you know how much the right loves that. And then he's on the right wing talking crap about the left and stuff, and it's almost like every single time he brings on a guest, they're like, "Aren't you an abomination to my God? Isn't that you? Isn't that what you do? You have a child? What the?" And so he's constantly having to defend himself about that, and he's like, "Well, yeah, but I hate myself though, so I guess it's okay anyway." But yeah, so this is So David Pakman, this isn't the same thing. I don't, we're going to get into what it actually is in a second here, but I'll let Timmy keep going.
Even Rubin was doing something similar. Let me put it this way. David Pakman is saying I'm not the next Rubin while doing literally the exact same thing every disaffected liberal has done when they've gotten red-pilled.
The only reason he's saying I'm not the
red-pilled. It's not getting mad for being called out by the left for pretty damn reasonable reasons. Reasonable reason? Kevin, can you put the word reasonable next to reason? I don't feel like that's good reasons. That sounded better, right? Yeah, it was more flowy. We'll just cut the first part. But because he's like a femicide apologist, it seems like he does, he seems, he's every time he talks about the situation with Israel, he's very, trying to like both sides it kind of. as far as I've seen, which is just insane to me. I don't know how you can both sides of that shit, or just go straight out against the people that are being schmemishided. But anyway, so we'll keep going.
Next Rubin is because they have this idea that Rubin was bad for doing what he did when all he did was acknowledge that the left is crazy.
Here's the clip.
Have not changed.
Yeah, y'all are the bastions of sanity over here on the right wing. Jesus, the QAnon side, by the way, that doesn't believe in any science at all, doesn't believe in climate change, hates everybody and loves guns.
In terms of my views,
None of us have.
what has changed, as I pointed out yesterday, is I no longer believe we are all part of the same movement. There's the governance-focused, big tent, win elections and pass laws left. That's where I am. And then there's this purity test left. The ones who don't really care if we lose and sometimes seem to like it so they can say, I told you so, as long as they feel morally untainted.
Yep. That's called
they
woke.
treat compromise.
That's called woke. Would you shut, Tim? I'm trying to listen to just shut up, Tim. All right.
As corruption. They think we need a better media ecosystem must mean install CIA approved thought leaders or something like that. So maybe we were never really part of the same movement. If I've been red pilled about anything, maybe it's that.
Indeed.
We overlapped when convenient, and that was it. But I'm not getting red pilled. I'm done pretending that everyone with a left-wing label is on the same page.
Blue sky
You
logo.
can stand for progress in a lot of different ways. You can want change
He's
without
cooked.
torching
I mean, this
everyone
is
who's
the end for
only
David Pakman on the left.
98% on your side.
Can you shut up while he talks, man? Just pause it, and then talk. See how I do this? See how I push pause and then I talk? Like, why can't you do that?
But no, I am not having a political awakening. I am not the next Dave Rubin. None of that.
Yeah, he is. And you know why? His views are in the gutter.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you what he is better than what he can say about himself there. I know all this stuff, okay? What are you, an evangelical now? Like, what is going on here?
Remember when he said this during the election? He was like, I'm losing so many subscribers. Holy crap, what's happening? Regular people are leaving the left. They're sick of it. They're moving on. My views haven't changed. Hey, David said the same thing. The only difference is when someone came to me and said, how many lights are there, Tim? I said 4. And they went, you're mistaken. There are 5. It says, no, I'm not. And stop lying. And if you keep lying, we're going to have problems. And
why can't you ever say anything that makes sense? Like what the number of lights? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
David said, yeah, there's 5 lights. And now finally, he's realizing he's on the wrong side of history. And so you can see the motivations of people like him. Late to the game. Why? Well, because he chose money and is willing to drop to his knees for whoever wants to pay him. Now, I will say this. Back off a little bit.
That's the hilarious part. Are you serious, Timmy? That he's taking money? First of all, I haven't been a big fan of David Pakman for a long time. I used to like his videos because they were like, keeping up with some of the crazy stuff that was going on in the White House during like the first Trump administration. But ever since this Israel thing happened, and I've just seen how weird he is about it and just how weak his arguments are, and just seem to be like, why are you I don't know. And now we find that he's being paid, but it's like, you're being paid $8,000 a video. No, not a video, a month. And yet, and it's from some dark money. Like they told you, like, don't tell anybody, we're paying you and everything like that. And it seems like maybe the people that are paying them are also saying, you can't say the stuff we don't want you to say about Israel. Which, I don't know, maybe he was already going to be doing that anyway, so it didn't really matter to him. But for Tim Pool to be coming out here, swinging at David Pakman, of course, he's trying to make it like, oh, he's leaving the left and everything. No, he got called out for having dark money ties, the secret, whatever. And we're going to, I got an article here that we can read in a second here. But for Tim Pool to be calling him out for that, when he gets $100,000 episode of his show from Russia, from Russian, dark money, right? Like, but that is so much worse. That is so much worse. It's a foreign government like paying somebody to basically sow discord in our political system, and they're paying people with these huge followings, and then he's going to criticize the guy who basically got called out for having a shitty take on Schmennicide, and that also accepts $8,000 a month from dark money sources or whatever. It's just the irony is just so goddamn thick.
Everybody should be praising David and saying, thank you for acknowledging this. What you're describing is how we define woke, purity test, moralistic leftists who just want you to be part of whatever they say is true, regardless of whether or not it's right, regardless of whether or not they'll actually win or change anything. They're self-sabotaging, and they're pure. It's a puritanical, ideological leftism, where if you deviate in any way, they cancel you. Okay, that's been woke the whole time. The cult-like adherence to liberal orthodox.
Are you serious? Like y'all don't do this to each other? Are you kidding me? Like if anybody does steps out of line, of course none of them do, right? When it's the right, they all agree about everything. Like they don't. There is no dissent when it comes to their political views, because it's all very it's all very narrow. It's like the white, straight, cisgendered Christian man. And their view, and them, and protect the wealthy's interest at all costs, right? Not that the Democrats are basically just Republican light on that, and the left is everybody else, right? And it's a lot of the people that will sit there and criticize the power. That's what and that's why when they talk about the Dems and everything not doing well, and them being like, oh, they're these woke idealists or whatever the hell calling us out. It's it's because of that. It's because they are just money grab, like they're corporate, they're corporate Democrats that are trying to placate. They're trying to reach across the aisle to the right wing so often and so much, just because they're getting all of this money from these PACs. It's the same PAC. A lot of these corporations, they're paying like billions to both sides, and so the left gets sick of that, because it's obvious that this is all bullshit, that they're just saying things with their mouth while they're cashing checks, and then like their actions and their actual legislation and the stuff they actually vote for is Republican light, and that's almost what's moved the needle so far to the right that even the Democrats are basically just Republicans. It's frustrating.
See, and David's being like, wow, I'm just now realizing this. So as much as I don't trust the guy, that's fine. The play here is to say, thank you, David. Please tell me more.
Dude's like, what's up, Michael? How you doing? No, it's not. It's not a Star Trek. It's not a Star Trek thing. It's the atheist symbol. It's all right. Don't worry about it. I guess a lot of people don't know the atheist symbol, and I guess it kind of does. It does look Star Trek-y, kind of, and it should, right? Because Star Trek was all about a future utopia where pluralism is kind of just the norm. Which I always say is kind of the opposite of Star Wars, which is a bit more realistic, where the fascists are just always right back to take over, and just over and over again, which we've seen is quite realistic, actually, which is fucking frustrating, but whatever.
What a good person you are for explaining this, and we will fracture the cult.
So I don't know if I agree on that, just because, and I understand wanting to be accommodating. However, I don't agree that wokeness is defined by its tactics or its characteristics in operation.
I don't think it's defined at all. I mean, the wokeness is just whatever the fucking right doesn't like, You know, they just will call anything woke.
This is why people apply the name woke right. You know, they say, oh, right wingers are behaving just like the left, therefore it's woke right. No, woke is
Okay. No, Michael said I'm an atheist. I didn't know he had a symbol. Again, yeah, it's not a very popular thing. You know, I had to like look it up at first because I really here and I guess I didn't. I guess I don't have it on this screen, but it's really cool on like some of the live streams and stuff. I have like the anarchist A, right, with the atheist A like inside of it, kind of. It's pretty cool. Like I'm actually kind of proud of that one. And I did make it, well, by taking stuff and just sort of putting it together. But I put it together though from what other people made.
Race communism, and the thing with David Pakman is he hasn't changed his views.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
Wait, what did he say? What
right wingers are behaving just like the left.
Like, it's not. It's not. What are you talking about?
For it's woke right. No, woke is gay race communism, and the thing with David Pakman is he hasn't changed his views.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
Gay what? It's gay race communism? Are they just putting all the words together they don't like? Is that because I guess maybe it is similar to woke or whatever if they're just putting words together they hate.
Okay. It is because he still has not changed any of his views, and so he wants to consolidate the existing gains of the revolution without jeopardizing it as a political project, because all of his co-freaks are so antisocial that they put people off. So he's hoping to repackage the same values in the same way. He's not reassessing his same priors. He wants the revolution to continue unfurling, but in the
it's so weird when they're like, it's so antisocial when like the right is so like they hate everybody. The left is typically like more about like pluralism, being cool with everybody, even if they're different than you. You don't have to necessarily understand every single thing about another person's like lifestyle and everything for you to like be okay with them. It's like on the right, like they have to agree with everybody, otherwise they just flat out hate them. It seems it's like it's crazy. Now look, when it comes to the left or whatever and people in the call out culture stuff, I think for the most part it's fine. The stuff they call out pretty reasonable. Of course, there's people that are annoying, right, and wrong, and take stuff too far and all that type of stuff. But that's not a problem with the left. That's just a problem with a couple people. And even so, like I'll take annoying over like defending genocide and violence and hate any day,
sustainable fashion. And just one final thing, it's hilarious that he says all of these CIA approved people. Dude, you had the values of the entire deep state, of Goldman Sachs, of Walmart until about 15 seconds ago. So the idea that you are some sort of renegade is quite pathetic.
So when you have wokeness is not gay race communism. There is an element of the left that
what the hell is gay race communism? Well, I don't know what that is. I've never heard those three words put together. I know those three words like individually. I just never heard them like scooted together to be whatever the hell they're talking about.
Here's to those ideologies, but that I've argued.
Geo Sam, thank you. All right, cool. Geo Sam is a new member. Hell yeah, I appreciate that, man. That is awesome. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. There it goes. Yeah, I can't pull it up. There you go. Geo Sam became a YouTube member. Thank you, dude. That's awesome. Hell yeah. You get a lot of good stuff. You do. It's a lot of fun. We just did a video yesterday. Well, it was a whole thing. And then I'm gonna have to redo kind of what never mind. It was a whole thing, but it was fun. It was fun, and you can still go back and watch it. The parts that YouTube didn't take down. But all the rest of it still there. Hey, Muttley. Hey, I want to thank you the other day when you gave it a super chat at the very. I didn't see it for some reason, and the irony was you're like, I didn't see the message or whatever, and like I didn't see your message saying you didn't see a message. It was kind of funny. Anyway, but sorry to get to give you a shout out there, but thank you so much for the super chat. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. Oh yeah. All right, here we go. I'm gonna keep going on this sucker.
There's quite a bit. Doesn't explain why there's the pro-Ukraine faction, which does not engage.
See what I mean? Like you hear how like Russian paid he is. That makes sense. Stop. You know, I don't care how I said it. God damn it. You know what I mean? No, but that's just how much of a Russian chill he is. You know, he's like, they got this whole, like, it explains, like, whatever that's weird support for the people that were invaded by Russia, but it's crazy. Like, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? It's a waste of money to help those people. That's what that is.
Arguments about critical theory, gender, or race. And it doesn't explain why people like David Pakman, who largely take an economic pro-war view, that he largely ignores those progressive arguments and gay race communism.
And that's kind of what we have pushed back on him about, is his pro-war views, which, you know, and he was like on the line recently. I guess it wasn't recently, but what, the past few months, right? Like, when was he on the line? Anarchic Fox might know. But what's up, dude? How you doing? So, like, but yeah, he was on the line recently, and I was kind of surprised. Now, I didn't watch the whole thing. It's like 3 hours long. But I was kind of surprised that the whole thing didn't get completely sidelined by his, like, war views or whatever. It's not even war. I mean, I don't know how you can even call it that. His like weird defense of Israel. We'll put it that way. But yeah, I was kind of surprised that it wasn't just completely, you know, thrown off track about that. But I guess that's not the point of the call, or the call-in show, even though they, you know, they call themselves a progressive, you know, leftist, atheist call-in show, right? Isn't that what they always say? Like, call in and talk to leftist atheists, and we will defend our positions, yada yada yada. And then they have David Pakman on. Anyway,
is still considered woke. And 2 more points: Mark Warner, who is considered a moderate Democrat, is defending Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And additionally, so that's the political element. The Jaguar commercial, where they espoused nothing political, but it was a weird modern art display of bald people wearing weird pastel makeup, was also called woke, because
it's whatever you don't like. It's whatever you think is too gay, I guess, or black, you know, or just any minority. If there's just too much minorityness, then it's woke.
Because they're all black and androgynous.
But that doesn't explain Mark Warner. So all of these different things that are called woke, if you put an umbrella over it, you try to ask, what is the lowest common denominator that allows us?
So funny that, like, they got so fucked up when, and I can't remember who it was, but they were like, define woke, and they're still fucked up by it. They just can't. They're like, no, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. Let's get out the whiteboard now. It's okay. Now, if 7 plus times, and it's like that weird thing where it's like all the numbers are coming in, they're like all confused while they're trying to define woke, and they still can't do it because nothing's ever going to be consistent when it comes to them defining that word, because it's just everything they hate.
To define woke, and is the cult-like adherence to liberal orthodoxy. That means David Pakman will never call out gay race communism, but he himself is not a gay race communist.
Well, liberalism is just the slow unfurling of gay race communism. Marxism and wokeness is just its eager stepchild. As far as Ukraine, the reason they support it is because
are they doing this thing where they think that, like, liberal and leftist are the same thing? Still, are they still trying to do this where they don't understand the distinction between the two of those?
They want to make it a sort of
but I'm going to pause you again, because what you're doing is you're cutting half of the woke people off because they don't hold those views. That's why that doesn't make sense.
What woke person did not fold themselves into BLM?
This is so sad. They're so weird. Okay, what woke? No, half the woke people did it. Well, the woke extra people to do. Are you fucking? What the hell is happening?
BLM and support trans.
David Pakman.
Did he not support BLM?
He didn't call it out. He didn't question it. He largely ignored those issues, and he consistently does. It is the cult-like adherence to their orthodoxy unchallenged, which puts them in the woke camp.
Why would he? Well, it's so weird. Like, so what? He should have called out BLM for what? Defending people being murdered by, like, public servants that didn't get in any trouble for it?
I think you would find. I don't watch David Pakman's show like everyone else in this room. I have
Crazy.
an IQ above 50. But I'm sure you would find an abundance of clips of him banging on about systemic racism or saying that Trump is committing some kind of transgenocide.
Oh, it's Gio said, I support your content. Open it reaches a wider audience. Oh, thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope so too. I don't know. It's pretty niche. You know what I mean? Atheist stuff and apostate, skeptic type stuff. and I guess, you know, I do some leftist stuff too, I guess, but it's already niche enough, and then to like put put it into like comedy framing and everything, even more niche. That's just a niche within a niche. But you know, but I hope so too. I'm right there with you. Thank you.
David Pakman has always played the moderate Democrat route, but never called out until now the excesses of the lunacy on the left.
He's been being called out for a while, man. And like I said, mainly because of his lack, I mean, his like weird support of Israel. That seems to be the main lays both sides into that shit. But anyway.
And so when we look at someone who's waving a Ukraine flag,
see,
and they put it in their profile, what does that have to do with critical theory in any capacity?
Because it's not,
because, you know, people being invaded by a crazy dictator, nut job oligarch is bad. Like that. We should support the person, you know, the people being invaded. What the fuck?
critical theory. It's human rights. It's the doctrine of the blank slate. And so they want Ukraine to be part of the international global liberal order through which universal human rights are unfold. And both
interesting questions coming up here. Also good taste in music. Don't forget that. That is true. That is right. We have the best taste in music around here. God damn it. But Michael asked, do you think that rioting is reparations? No, those are two different concepts that are quite different. I mean, I would say that what you do enough of one, you get the other. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know about that. They're definitely not the same thing now. But I honestly don't even really know what you're asking, because it's you're like, are these two very different concepts the same? No. But anyway,
right, I hear you. The individuals in this country that don't know anything about critical theory will not argue in favor of communism, will actually criticize the ideas of communism, but march in lockstep with those things we define as woke. So the point is, there have been numerous prominent conservatives who said
woke being, again, any advocacy for anybody that's not like white, straight, Christian, rich men. That's it.
Woke is critical race theory, gender theory, gay race communism, etc. And then that isolates a core group of
gay race communism, etc. Like you just sounded insane. These people are so funny, dude.
Of personalities and the entire sphere of influence for which they control, which includes prominent liberals who are pro-war in Ukraine.
Listen, he's like not even mentioned the dark money thing, like at all. They're not talking about that at all. How is that not like the central point of this? Like, look, they're being paid on the left. Isn't that like their favorite thing to say about the left? The left are being paid by George Soros, you know, and they always try to make it like, for whatever reason, I don't know how this passes when they have a billionaire as their president who brought another billionaire who was, for a time, I don't know if he still is, the richest person on planet Earth into the White House, unelected, just to be able to just start slashing stuff you know, that he didn't like or whatever, while they give all the other billionaires the tax cuts and everything, right? But they're against the elites. That's how it's the left. It's the Dems. You know, I mean, like I said, the left. They're all in support of the elites. George Soros, the one billionaire they can name that's on the left. You know, it's just so funny. It's like, how the fuck? It's good. And if you look at like the what they defend, it's just always billionaires being able to get everything that they want every time. When you look at like climate change, they of course are against any kind of action against anything that might minimize what is causing climate change. Why? Because of the billionaire the company, the oil companies and everything. They're like worth like billions and billions of dollars that of course are paying to like be like, hey, lie about this, so that everybody like, you know, doesn't give a shit that we're like destroying the planet. I mean, and then same thing with COVID, you know, they're acting like they, you know, it's like, oh, of course the billionaire shareholders like want everybody to go back to work and act like this thing isn't anything. And they don't give a shit if you kill grandma, get back to work. I need my share. You know, I got to make my shareholders happy. like that. It's always in favor of the wealthiest people. Yet somehow they convince their voters that they're the ones that are the little guy going against the big elites, you know. And it's funny too, because like one of the arguments that they do is they'll be like, they'll say, how do they say it? Oh yeah, they say, well, if you look where, you know, the places where they vote the most blue, it's in the wealthiest zip codes. They gotta pea hat. They gotta like take the, you know, the numbers and screw with them, because they can't say, hey, the left has the most billionaires, because they don't. Hey, the left gets the most money donated to them, because they don't. Like they can't do anything. They gotta be, well, the zip codes though. Like, what about that? Yeah. If you alter the parameters of the numbers enough, we can come up with something. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Pro-Taiwan, anti-China, anti-Russia. It ignores them and their influence in the similar space. So when we look at...
What's up, Tsunami? How you doing? What's going on?
What all this whole... Like, David Pakman, why would I describe him as woke? Because for the longest time, he has engaged in sophistry to uphold liberal orthodoxy. But he himself, in private... There are many liberal.
What happened? Hold on. Let me go up to this comment. Michael said, okay, thanks. There was a BLM chick in Chicago, the head of that chapter of BLM, who said the riots are reparations. That was my reference. Okay, I don't know what she's referring to, what she's saying. I think for the most part, BLM is good, you know, but it is a grassroots organization. So it's not really led by anybody. So I at least appreciate you saying head of that chapter, because a lot of times you'll get people like, the head of BLM. You can't be the head of BLM because it's not a thing like that works like that. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know exactly what that person was talking about, but I'm sure there might be some context that, you know, might explain it.
We've had on the show that do this thing where it's like, obviously trans kids is not a good thing, we shouldn't do that, and they'll actually say things like that while trying to dance around. Pisco, who we have at the Culture War, who'll be here tomorrow, he does a lot of this. He offers up oh, you're right about these things, but then uses sophistry to try and defend the whole of liberal orthodoxy. So my point ultimately...
Orthodoxy? What the fuck? What? That's, oh my God. Okay. This dude is so silly. I don't even know. You know, I don't understand how people can watch this guy. I mean, he's one of those people too, where he keeps on, he'll like, he does a lot of the article stuff. And it's so funny because he doesn't read the articles ahead of time. And so he like thinks he knows where the article's going. And then he makes some angry, very just, you know, animated point. And then it turns out that's not how he was making a point that didn't make any sense, because it's not what the article was even saying. If you would have just read a tiny bit more, or just read the article before he went live, but he's too lazy for that. You know, but not that I can say much about people being lazy. I do pretty much that. Yeah, I just decided to but I would be the one to be like, oh shit, I messed up because I didn't read the article ahead of time. I guess I should have done that. Like, I would just be honest about it. He's too like, no, I didn't mess up. You messed up when you're with your ears on your face. That's what messed up. You heard me wrong.
Is while we do highlight individuals that are critical theorists, gender, race, or otherwise, there are prominent
critical theorists. Like, what the fuck? Like, critical theory is just, as far as I understand, it's like an evaluation of power structures and stuff, which is absolutely a very interesting thing to look into, right? And I think there's a lot of good that can come out of looking at those kinds of theories and stuff like that. But like, of course, this guy's like, don't even think about it. Stop. You know, don't. No. Wealthy people say you shouldn't be looking into power structures and stuff. It's like, oh, I wonder why. Like, and they're, you know, and again, they're being paid by Russian oligarchs to tell you to just stop, look into that stuff.
That we call woke, because they will protect it while privately trying to downplay it. When they say things like, you know, I hear what you're saying on that, they will then try and convince you to come into the fold of the greater liberal orthodoxy. I'll try and keep it simple. It does not matter what is logical or true. White, blonde hair, blue-eyed Eastern Europeans are people of color according to woke. But that defies the oppression hierarchy they also claim to uphold. They say the military-industrial complex is bad and the funding of war by the United States is bad until it comes to Ukraine. It's all completely illogical. It's almost like I describe it as a murmuration.
Y'all do the same thing. What are you talking about? It's like you do this thing where you're like, oh, funding the wars and everything is great as long as it's Israel. But, but you for what, Tim Pool did this like about face on Ukraine all of a sudden, which is just so funny because it's super obvious that he's like, a paid shill. Same as Tucker Carlson that was like, look how cheap their groceries are. Man, their Subway's like clean and stuff. This place is great. Ukraine probably deserved it. Ukraine probably deserved it. That's actually how you would say it, and then you go, anyway.
Flying around randomly, and as long as you stick with it, you are in the woke sphere, whether it tilts left, right, or otherwise. David Pakman
Did you just say woke sphere? My God. This is like a fucking clown show at this point. What is going on?
Coming out and saying the purity test left is finally breaking from woke by calling them out explicitly.
I think the connective tissue here that we would agree on is what we discussed when I was on the culture war last year, which is whether or not they're congenital liberals or dyed in the wool gay race communists. They all believe on the blank slate, and so they might
congenital liberals
differ on the instruments by which they achieve this,
like the heart failure. I guess I don't know what congenital means.
Latent human equality.
That had something to do with heart failure. It was like a type of heart failure.
Egalitarianism that's lying underneath everything.
I disagree. I don't think they believe in the blank slate.
You don't think David Pakman believes in the blank slate?
I would argue that David Pakman largely doesn't believe in anything except the color green and pictures of dead presidents.
Okay, well,
yeah, that's it. Because he got $8,000 a month. This dude got 100,000 an episode from Russia, and he acted like he was like, I didn't even know about that. I don't even know where the money came from. Okay, I don't know. I just get paid for stuff. Okay, I don't ask questions. If you're handing me $100,000, I don't ask questions. So here, look, we'll take a look a little bit more in depth at what I'm talking about. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But all right, so there's this article here about these damn things. Now it was an article in, I want to say Wired, but you got to pay for those. And I'm not doing that. So Yahoo, we're gonna have to go with some Yahoo over here to tell us what's up about this stuff. So okay, so dark money group paying pro-dem influencers up to $8K a month. Report. I love how New York Post like, this is crazy. $8K. Jeez. Like, come on, man. That's not that much, at all. When it comes to this kind of stuff, right? But it says a secretive dark money group tied to the Democratic Party is paying online influencers up to $8,000 a month to disseminate left-leaning talking points, according to a report. The Chorus Creator Incubator Program. That's great. Why? Really? The Chorus Creator Incubator Program? Who the hell came up with that? Jesus, that was somebody's kid, wasn't it? They're like, I really want to have incubator in the name. They're like, that's that billionaire Ted's son. So we gotta put it in there. Fuck. Stupid. But it's said to be funded by the 1630 Fund, a nonprofit sometimes portrayed as the left's answer to the Koch network, and which has funneled money to dozens of Democratic-friendly influencers, according to Wired magazine. See, that's the Wired article right there. But let me skip that a little bit. Oh, here we go. The names attached to the program spam from some of the most recognizable liberal voices online. So here we go. I got, let's see, do they say, they include Olivia Juliana, the Gen Z activist who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention, Lauren Puretta or whatever, or Petra, I don't know. I don't know this brand. They're clearly, clearly I don't know these people, but a former Playboy executive termed Occupy Democrats YouTuber, and Barrett Adair, the content creator who runs a viral American girl doll themed meme account. Man, this stuff is so online. It's like, I don't know, like much of the, didn't know there was an American girl doll meme account out there, but okay, sure, why not? I'm sure there is. But the program also includes Susan Lambert, who styles herself a Regina George liberal, Ariel Fodor, a teacher with 1.4 million TikTok followers. Jesus Christ. Sandra Jennings, the TLC reality star and older brother of trans influencer Jazz Jennings, and David Pakman. There he is, host of a YouTube show. I like how he just it kind of drops out there. He only has the one thing. It's safe. But yeah, he's part of this whole thing. And it's funny, I'm not really seeing, because I was under the impression that as long as you were being paid this $8,000 a month, you had to kind of not say anything about Israel, right? Because that seems to be kind of the centrist Democrat, like, perspective is, hey, Israel can do whatever it wants with the complete fucking impunity. But Jesus, the 1630 Fund told the Post that it is a fiscal sponsor of Chorus, and that the group receives donations on Chorus's behalf and provides operational and administrative support for Chorus, though it states it is not the original source of financing. The fiscal sponsorship model is common across philanthropy, and our work with Chorus is in compliance with all laws. The 1630 Fund told the Post. So it's just a big weird money thing. So contracts reviewed by Wired barred creators from publicly acknowledging the program, which is odd. That part's kind of strange. They're like, you're not allowed to talk about it. You can't say that we're paying you this $8,000 a month. But disclosing the identity of any funder or even admitting they were being paid at all, the publication reported. So yeah, they're not even allowed to talk about who's paying them, which is strange. But a breach could mean expulsion from the program. Lose all 8,000 of those dollars every month, and the loss of thousands in monthly income. Thousands. Yeah, I know. Up to 8. It says up to 8, which is funny. And then some of the people that got called out about all this said, mine's not even that high. They're like, that's not even 8. Wait, who's getting 8? What, is Pakman getting fucking 8? This is bullshit. I'm getting my 1.5. This is I don't know. It's ridiculous. Okay, so here you got pro-dem influencer David Pakman speaks on stage at Politicon in 2018 Los Angeles. Yeah. I mean, it's weird that he's been considered a progressive or whatever. I mean, for the most part, I feel like he did, for a long time anyway, have progressive views. But they always go back to that, oh, it's just for politics' sake. That's why I'm against X, Y, and Z thing, because they're like, oh, but it loses voters and stuff like that. But because again, he's more about the strategy, which is what made TYT. That's the excuse they give anyway. Although I think TYT just kind of saw where the culture was going, saw that people are moving to the right, and they wanted that sweet cash, because the right is way more well funded than the left, because of course it is. The people getting the groups of people that are calling out the wealthiest people and going against their interests at every turn, not going to have the most wealthiest people in that coalition there. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I thought this was going to go in more about Israel. But anyway, fun stuff. Anyway, all right. So we got, but I do have, let's say, saw Philip 40 million. What was it? Saw 40 million in Polymart cash. Jesus, of course they did. Yeah, definitely fascist. Let me see here. What? Oh, you're putting time out. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you said. I'm not paying attention, but I'm sure if somebody put you on timeout, there was a good reason for it. Anyway. All right. So I found this video though too. Check this out. This is so funny. So you got Ken Ham, right? You got this Ken Ham video. Ken Ham is hilarious. But there's this like dude running for mayor in New York, right? Mamdani and Zoran Mamdani. And boy, has he got, well, just everybody freaking out, right? Because he's publicly, like, basically stated that he's a Democrat, that he's a socialist and stuff like that. So that's already like freaking out the right. But of course, that even freaks out the left. Not the left, but the Democrats. Like I said, the centrists that are barely left of center. They're not even left of center. They're left of the Republicans. That's it, because that's where we've gotten to. But so they're all freaking out about it too, do not like this guy. But Ken Ham really, really doesn't like this dude. But here, hold on. Where's my, oh, we're there. Okay. Watch this. Democratic Socialist Group wants to do what? Oh yeah, he also is like watching the Democratic Socialists, the convention or whatever. Oh, it's kind of funny. Ken Ham, he just cracks me up because he's just so.
So do you think it's a good thing?
Just like one of the most brainwashed people on planet Earth, I mean, and part of me is like, is he not serious about it? I mean, is he actually brainwashed, or is he just like playing? Is he doing the brainwashing, right? And just, wants to spread his bullshit out to everybody. I think he's a true believer, though. I think he's one of the few like that, that are very, very popular in the Christian sphere here, the fundamentalist sphere, right? That is a true believer, and it's just like he's the one who has the arc park. Like his whole thing is that like evolution is evil and a lie from all those damn atheist scientists that are all just they're in a cabal. They're in a cabal of Illuminati Satanists scientists, right? And they all just they hate the truth, which is that actually there was a woman made of a rib who ate a magical apple because a talking snake told her to, which that's the normal thing to believe.
That a person running for mayor of what's considered one of the major cities of the world, New York, biggest city in America, is a member of the Democratic Socialist Party of America.
Oh my God. What evil. Evil. Which is, they want workers' rights and stuff. They're pro-union. How dare they be pro-worker, pro-union, don't rip people off, pay people a fair wage, maybe get rid of CEOs. They kind of don't do anything. They kind of just sit there and suck up everybody's money that everybody else makes for the company. Anyway, but
when we say family abolition, I think a lot of people think we need kinship abolition. What we actually mean is the nuclear family.
While this bill does not decriminalize sex work, I would like to register my support for such legislation.
Well, let's find
hell
out.
Yeah, good for him. I know that freaks out Ken here. Why you can't make sex work legal? It's 8. We should make more. We should make all sex illegal. That's what we should do now.
So recently, there was a conference of Democratic Socialists of America, and it's available on video. So I decided to have a look at the video to see what they're saying and what they believe.
We do argue for abolition of the family in general.
We argue for. It's so hard to hear him in this one. Hold on.
It's available on video. So I decided to have a look at the video to see what they're saying and what they believe.
We do argue for abolition of the family in general. And
by the way, you notice they're all
making, we argue for evolution of the family. Is that what I heard? I couldn't. It was hard to. It's hard to hear what they're saying.
Have a look at the
One
video.
more time. I'm sorry.
To see
Last time,
what they're saying and what they believe.
We do argue for abolition of the family in general. And
by the way, you notice they're all.
It's either I think you say like abolition of the family in general. Is that really what they're saying? That is, yeah, it was evolution. Okay, because I was like, is he saying they're saying abolition? Like we want to abolish families. We just, no more of those. No more of those. Just individuals. That's it. That's all we want. Just 1-bedroom apartments for everybody. God damn it. And we're gonna force it. We're gonna force y'all to not have families anymore. We're gonna make your children go live by themselves in a one-bedroom apartment. That's what we're gonna do. That's the democratic socialist way. We hate families. Fucking what?
Wearing masks? Why are they still wearing masks? Why is it? I notice this when you go to cities that are considered more liberal, I see them still.
You mean like where people are packed in like sardines? Because there's like 1 billion people all like just shoved in to where each other are. Yeah, you wear masks. Like masks are a normal thing in like other countries. Like China, it was funny because we were watching, and I remember it like freaked me out at first. I was like, wait, what? How did they know? How did they know that this was going to happen? But it was like, no, it's a normal thing in China and stuff because like a lot of like area in Japan, I think, like areas over there, it's like real tight, it's like just a shitload of people. So if you have a cold or whatever, or if you have like any kind of anything really, it's just polite to wear a mask, right? Because then you can't, then you're less likely to spread whatever it is, especially when you're in such close quarters with everybody. So it's just kind of a polite thing to do. But of course, he's like, what is even happening here? These freaky weirdos wearing masks like this, being all polite. No, I hate them. I hate them, what they do. That's just embarrassing.
Often wearing masks, or people who are wearing masks. I was even over in the West in a very liberal city recently, and
he's just floating along. Like, what is that? Why you couldn't just show yourself walking? Is that was too difficult for you? Like, make it look like I'm just gliding across the city. What is happening here?
And I saw a group of public school students,
and they even changed this. Like, look at that! Look at those students in a photograph. Like, what are you doing? This is the weirdest visual representations I've ever seen in my life.
They were all wearing masks, so I don't know what it is with masks and liberals, but it seems to go hand in hand.
Yeah, just politely not wanting to get people sick. Is that what it is? Okay. That there's like COVID didn't go away. Yeah, like it's still in places, especially places where it's like high density like that.
And because children don't have rights as individuals, but only in relation to their parents, they essentially only have the rights given to them by whomever their parents happen to be. So if you were born into a home headed by a Christian fundamentalist tyrant, for instance, you have the rights that Christian fundamentalist tyrant gives you.
A Christian fundamentalist tyrant and their children. And it's interesting how she refers to that. She even says that the current president of the United States, president.
It's funny too, because this one kind of hits home with me because I was raised by a fundamentalist tyrant who homeschooled who homeschooled me, right? And terrorize me too, and when you're homeschooled, you can't go complain to HR because the HR is the person you're complaining about. So you can't, there's nothing, you're stuck. You got to just stay in an abusive situation until you're old enough to get the fuck out of the house. But yeah, so I am actually in full agreement with this lady, because they'll sit there and terrorize their children. They'll tell them that like demons are everywhere. There's witches and warlocks around every corner, just casting spells, trying to kill you all the time if you're a Christian. And they hate the kids the most. They're always coming for the kids. You've heard that, right? They're just terrorizing the children in those situations, and the kids have no rights. They have like literally, there's no children's bill of rights, and I think that we do honestly need one, other than abuse. Like you can't, if you can demonstrate anyway that somebody is abusing the kids, which is why I think public school and shit like that is actually good, because they do checks on things like that. Teachers are trained to look for the signs of both sexual and physical abuse. So yeah, but if a lot of these Christian fundamentalist households where they homeschool their kids, nobody ever sees them other than like other crazy people that don't care, about the kids and everything. So yeah, I totally get where this girl's coming from. There was like that one family who like homeschooled all their kids and would chain them to the beds and stuff. Like and the kids, like one of the kids broke out and the cop was like talking to her, and he was like, "Do you have any injuries?" And she's like, "What's injuries?" She didn't know what the word injuries meant. He was like, "Are you on any medications?" She was like, "What's medications?" And she didn't, because they were homeschooled and just, abused the hell out of the kids. And a lot of them were in their like 20s. They kept these kids and completely just fucked with their heads until they were well into adulthood. But, that's the type of stuff you can do and get away with when you have like homeschooling and things like this, where these people want as little intervention as humanly possible. I understand when it comes to like, situations like that, like you don't want the government poking around, but we need something. You got to have some kind of oversight. You can't just hide your kids away from like the world and be doing God knows what to them. You know what I mean? We need some kind of Bill of Rights for kids to protect their rights.
Trump is a fundamentalist tyrant.
I don't know if he's fundamentalist, but he's definitely a tyrant. I'll give him that.
The fundamentalist tyrant that we have now.
And I'm thinking she's referring here to Christian parents and to the father particularly, that he's a Christian fundamentalist tyrant. And she's saying that they're the ones.
Like, look how nice this dad is right here, dude. This is what she's calling a fundamentalist tyrant, just reading to his homeschool child. I don't, they're crazy. They're crazy.
That are going to make their children Christian fundamentalist tyrants. I guess that's what she's saying. Obviously, right from the start.
Or they'd be victims of the tyrants. Like, I don't, was that what she was saying? She's like, then they make little tyrants out of those kiddos. And then you know what you got? Household of kiddo tyrants. And that's not what anybody wants. Okay. That's a bad day for everybody.
But you can see they are against.
Can you imagine those kids at Chuck E. Cheese? Oh my God. It's a nightmare. They're just tyrannical at that place.
The family as God has ordained. And I think what she's probably saying is that the father shouldn't be the head of the house because.
Okay. Yeah. That's what she was saying. Fucking what, man? It's amazing how they can clip this stuff out of like, because I get what they're talking about, right? Because I've been through that situation and didn't have the rights that I should have been afforded myself. Not to mention like the right to have a good education. That was also removed. So then you can't go to any college anyway, but the whole thing with bad homeschooling. But like, so I get what she's saying there. Now he takes that little clip out of context, and then what does he say about it? I think that she's saying that men shouldn't be the head of the household. That's what she's saying. What the fuck? How did you, based on what? Where did you get that? You're just making shit up. But I guess that's just what they do, isn't it? And I don't know why I'm even surprised by that.
Because if you base your family on the Bible, then God has given specific roles to men and specific roles to women.
Yeah, that's a misinterpretation. Said no, they just want to include families with two moms or no children. So, I think you all are having a conversation there. But like, no, that's the thing too. He's like, they hate families. They're all anti-family. And it's like, no, just sometimes families don't look like what you're demanding families look like. If they have two moms or two dads or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And in fact, I feel like studies have shown that those households are actually a lot of times better for the kids. But you know, it's I think a lot of times because, you know, they want the kids that they have. They're not like, oh shit, we gotta have kids now. You're pregnant again? Are you fucking? Oh my god. I'm wearing condoms from now on. This is insane. What the fuck? Oh, stop being pregnant. Just stop. God, do you know how expensive these things are? And they stink. My God.
People obviously reject God's word totally, and so they do not see a role for men being the spiritual head of the house. If you're the spiritual head of your house, she calls you a Christian fundamentalist tyrant.
Okay. Wait. Jeez, it's good. It's crazy that they can go that far to mislead everybody. When you could have just taken what she was actually saying and gone against that, because it's, you know, you're scared enough of what she was actually saying. You didn't have to make up shit. But of course, no, never mind. Of course you did, because you have to be a liar.
That's number one. Let's look at number two. There's someone who speaks into a microphone somewhere and he says he's a Baptist pastor. Well, that's what he said.
I'm also a Baptist minister. And on that revolutionary horizon, want to perform abortions in a church, you know, but before it's all said and done.
It seems to me, from what I watched, that he wants to perform abortion in a church.
Is that what he said? Again, it is hard to hear this stuff. Hold on, one more time.
On that revolutionary horizon, want to perform abortions in a church, you know, but before it's all said and done.
It seems to me, from
that revolution, was that a joke, or is that, because it's funny too? The other thing is that a lot of times leftists and stuff, they have like this ironic sense of humor when they'll like say stuff that they know freaks out the right, and then they're just like, but it's like ironic, they're joking or whatever, right? And then the right hears it and like, oh my god, they said it, you know, like that one the gay choir or whatever was like, we're coming for your children, and the very next line is like, to make them fine, loving human beings or something like that. They accept people, you know, and they just, you know, all over all of the right wing, whatever, all of the YouTube channels, all over the Daily Wire, all that type of shit. They're like, we're, you know, they're like, we're coming for your kids. I'm like, that's it, cut it. See, I told you, they're coming for our kids. They're coming for our kids, and they do. Like, I told you. And it's like, it was a joke, you dipshit. Like, what the fuck? Play the next 2 seconds, but they can't, you know, because they're liars.
What I watched, that he wants to perform abortion in a church.
In a church.
I mean, I sort of thought for a moment maybe God would have struck him with lightning right then. I mean, that is
yeah, like in that Disney movie. Yeah.
God hates the shedding of innocent blood.
What's the place that you run again? What was the name of that place? Oh yeah, the Ark Park. And what story of the Bible is Noah's Ark in? Oh yeah, the planet-wide shedding of innocent blood, dude. Well, what the fuck? What are you doing? How are you saying this stuff? Maybe, you know, it's funny because I guarantee his response would be, oh, but those were innocent people. Those were godless heathens, and so they deserved it. Maybe we should try to convince Ken Ham that all fetuses are atheists. So it's cool, you know. They're maybe that they're gay too. They're gay atheists. They're gay theists. They're gay fetuses. Gay fetuses. Yeah, gay fetus. I said it. I got it right.
And to say, I want to sacrifice a child, it's like the Canaanites in their pagan religion. I want to sacrifice it.
Sacrifice what? Hey, look at that one. See how that's an actual kid that's not hooked on to somebody and actually breathes air and is an independent being out. Like, my God, what the fuck? Oh my fucking God,
child. To the God of self. I mean, that's what he's really saying. And
I mean, that's what he's really saying. I'll tell you what he's saying. Yeah, no, you don't listen. What? No, that's not what you're saying. But even if like what he was saying was that he, is looking forward to the revolutionary moment when people have abortion clinics in churches or whatever. Okay, don't care. It's a pill a lot of times. Holy shit, man, relax.
Talking about babies and people with babies coming to meetings and they need to have child watch.
So when we say we want more women to participate, but none of our events have childcare, we want more parents to participate, but there's no childcare at any of our events. It's hard to get volunteers who want to do child watch because everyone wants to go to the meeting. We do have child watch and we're trying to make it better.
Why do they need to have child watch? I mean, these are the people that think children can make up their own mind as to
what the hell? Why do they need to have child watch? Are you serious, man? You go to fucking church. Like half of why 50% of people go to church at all are just to show up and drop their kids off somewhere and be like, oh my God, we can just go sit someplace without our kids for an hour. I'm in. I don't give a shit what the guy on the stage says. I don't care how stupid the music is. I don't care if every single song has the same 4 chords. All that stuff is true. They are stupid, and every song does have 4 chords, and it's the same 4 chords over and over again. But whatever, we can get away from our kids for an hour and a half. I'm there. And they better not do that stupid shit where they're like, hey, this week we're gonna have the kids sitting in the service with us because we think they can get a lot out of you. Like, oh God, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm out. But what was even the point of coming here? Holy shit.
Gender they want to be and everything else. So therefore, why don't they just let kids make up their own mind and do whatever they want? Because the Bible makes it very clear that we need to train children, train them in the things of the Lord.
It also says you need to beat them with a rod. Otherwise, you hate them. If you don't beat them with the rod, you hate them. Okay, Jesus Christ.
Number one, that's a priority. But obviously, children are tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. While they're children, we need to be able to teach them the truth. That's what we need to be doing. So
the truth being, the rib lady eating the magical fruit because of the talking snake, and that's why God had to sacrifice himself to himself in order to convince himself to save the world from himself. Because of the rib lady eating the fruit. That truth.
I'm surprised they even have child watch.
What we actually
said they didn't, but they want to because
is the nuclear family as an economic unit, right? As a unit that manages your material realities in the world, right? Who your parents are, who you partner with, how many children you have, and how those children turn out to be are all economic conditions. So when we talk about family abolition, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the abolition of that economic unit, that liberatory horizon.
Okay, so so he knew that. It's funny too, because I thought for a second he was trying to pull a fast one and act like they were saying abolition, since that's what they think leftists want to do or whatever. But she does say. So what was so scary about the evolution of the family? I don't understand. He just played that clip like it was supposed to be so scary, and so what? I don't understand.
Is to say it is a horizon in which kinship and care are in which all of our material needs are taken care of by the collective.
Now, this particular video clip was interesting because it reminded me of one of the science fiction programs that I watch. Yeah, I admit it. I've watched Star Trek.
That is the most illogical attitude.
And
he called it a program. It's like, I watch a science fiction program. That's right, a television program. That's what I watch.
I know all about the Borg. I know all about the collective. And so in this particular video clip here,
I remember seeing that Borg movie in theaters. That was the only thing I'd ever seen of Star Trek. I was very confused. I had no idea what the hell was going on the entire time. I was like, I just think these Borg things are bad. That's all I've got. That's it. That's all I'm at, with this.
This person obviously wants the destruction of the nuclear family because they're talking about the family as God ordained, one man, one woman. Keep in mind that the family...
They never said that. They said evolution of the... God, it's like he has the destruction. It's like if we legalize, it was almost like when, we were pushing for gay marriage and they were acting like that will destroy the Christian family, like as if like every time a gay gay marriage happens, it's like they immediately run across the street into like somebody's house, like and just like destroy their house or whatever. Like, stop being married, you're not allowed because of us. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Is the backbone of the nation. It is the educational unit of the nation. The family is the first.
The educational unit of the nation? What the hell does that mean? What are you talking about? The educational unit? What? I'm like trying to be charitable, and I don't even know where to begin. What the hell is he talking about?
Most fundamental of all human institutions that God ordained in Scripture, and the family is the unit that God uses to transfer that spiritual legacy from one generation to the next and impact the world around. They want to destroy the family, and she says instead.
See what I mean? They want to destroy the family. Nobody wants to destroy any families, man. Just because we want other, it's like if you have other families that look slightly different, that doesn't destroy any families. I don't know why they think, and it's like, no, they're the ones trying to destroy other people's families by saying that they shouldn't get the same rights and everything that they get because their family's not real, not like an actual family like ours, you know. They're the ones that are trying to mess with other people's families as long as they don't look specifically exactly like whatever their Christian fundamentalist family looks like.
They need to have a collective, like the Borg, I guess, and so that all their needs are provided for by the government.
Yeah, every gay marriage requires an annulment of a Christian marriage. Only so many marriages allowed at a time, you know, limited commodity there, you know, you can't have it. Jesus.
So this is socialism. This is outright communism, and we know it doesn't work. Let's go to number 5.
If you are pregnant.
Wait, what's number 5? Number 5, what? What do you, were we counting something down? What happened? Did he just forget to edit that out?
Or you want to be pregnant, think about not being able to have an abortion, not being able to end a pregnancy if you need to.
So in this clip, this woman is talking about how they're scared they won't be able to have abortions. In other words, they're scared that someone's going to try to stop them from sacrificing their.
Oh my good God. What? Wow. Okay. Now you're just putting this visual up for everybody to say, what the hell is wrong with you? This thing would be inside of, again, it can be done with a pill 90% of the times, dude. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they have to like redefine things to be like, oh no, it's a little person just fully grown walking around in there. That's why it's murder.
Child. That's what they're scared of. They want to be able to have.
No, they're scared of like, you know, not being able to stop a pregnancy, like when, I don't know, it could actually hurt you, or maybe just somebody that doesn't want to have a kid. Why do you want to force people? This is what's so weird about this shit. They want to force people to have kids because he was just talking about how he can't have anything but the nuclear family, otherwise that's destroying families. So here's what he's doing, right? He wants to force a bunch of people to have kids that don't want them, and then not only that, like the people that do put their kids up for adoption, he wants to stop the gay couples from being able to adopt the kids. So it's like he's burning the candle at both ends. Like, it's just like they want a bunch of fucking homeless kids. That's like their whole thing. Like, they just want to force a bunch of kids into existence and then have nobody to take care of them because, you know, you can't. Jesus Christ.
Child sacrifice as much as they want.
Why do you keep saying child sacrifice? It's not a sacrifice, dude. We're not. They're not going up to a golden calf or something, man. It's so fucking weird. It's by taking a pill. They're like, that's it. I am now sacrificing this cluster of cells. The Molech.
They want to destroy the family. In fact,
they want to just. Just keeps repeating it. They want to destroy the family. They hate the family. The family is what they want to destroy the family.
As you watch these video clips, it's all about the destruction of the family.
Holy shit. I was like kind of joking, but now like I can't. How do you satirize this at this point? He said it like 7 times now.
And when we understand scripture, and as I said earlier, the family is the first and most fundamental of all human institutions. The devil hates the family. And there's a war on the family, and that war results in many different types of attacks.
A war on a family by having more things or more kinds of families included under the umbrella definition of the word family, so that the word family would be more representative of like the reality that, like, you know, more people than Christians exist and they have families too. Jesus.
Attacks on the family, such as abortion, and attacks on the role of men and women and so on. Let's go to number 6.
Attacks on the role again. It's like if other people that have nothing to do with him are doing things differently, that's an attack on him and other people that are doing it the way they want to do it. That's insane, man. How do they think like this? It's so crazy. It's like they're the ones literally trying to destroy other people, you know, families, by like, you know, saying they shouldn't be able to have rights and everything. But like, and we're saying everybody should be able to do, you know, what they want to do within reason, of course. You know, as far as like families go, whatever, you don't have to be one man, one woman, you know, 2.5 children and a dog and a white picket fence or whatever. Like, they're gonna start like, they want to destroy the house. They want to have houses that don't have white picket fence. That destroys all that. They hate houses with the, you know, they hate white picket fences. It's what it is.
This particular video clip, this person claims that anyone engaging in marriage is engaging in sex work, and she actually relates
what, man? What?
Marriage to prostitution.
The only real difference between marriage and prostitution is the price and the duration of the contract. That the institution of marriage can only exist alongside the criminalization of sex workers. The criminalization of sex work is like the dark underbelly of the sanctified, reified, and legally enforced institution of exchanging your bodily autonomy and your sexuality for economic security. It is not to say that individuals shouldn't get married, but I don't think it is something we should fight for as a horizon.
This stuff is getting so...
I'm very confused. Okay, so I feel like there's got to be some kind of like context that I'm missing here. But I think, you know, when it comes to like marriage and stuff, like the way historically it has been, it is like an ownership thing. I mean, and if you look at some of these like more rural states, they literally have it where they can marry children, right? So that is almost like you know, sex work or whatever, just like owning a person, you know. That's like somebody that does not have really the right to even drive a car, because they're not old enough to decide, you know, or to be expected to be safe behind the wheel of a car. But they can decide who they're going to spend the rest of their life with, and of course it happens to be like men a lot of times that are very old, you know, that are way, you know, 4 times their age or whatever. But so I don't know exactly what specifically she's saying, but like, I don't think that sex work should be criminalized. I think that is fine. I mean, honestly, I think it would get rid of a lot of the violence that's associated with it, right? Because like if you legalize it, and then you know, then that would get rid of all the pimps, wouldn't it? Because there would be no reason for pimps. You would have like a legal, legitimate business where they can get like, you know, you can protect them with like being tested regularly and have that all covered by the company. And then you could also make sure that they get their fair share. They're not being terrorized. You know, as far as I could tell, that's not a bad thing. I honestly don't understand why it's criminalized. But you know, other than people like him, like fundamentalists that are like, oh no, sex is evil if it's not done exactly our way, whatever, you know.
Perverse, so outlandish, so bizarre. But what they really want is the legalization of prostitution. In other words, what they're out for.
Yeah, I'm absolutely for that. You know, I think it would make it a lot safer for the women, you know, which I know is something he doesn't give a shit about, right? It would absolutely make it more safe for them. And it would get rid of it would pretty much get rid of all the problems. Like most of the problems that we have with prostitution is because it's illegal. You know, it's almost like the violence that's associated with selling weed. or it used to be. I mean, I don't even know if that happens anymore because it's so legal these days, you know, but it used to be that people would get shot at all the time and stuff because it was cartels that were like selling the weed and everything. But that was what made it violent, was the fact that it was illegal and they had to have kind of their own rule of law associated with it, you know?
Whereas we don't want to obey any God who has laws in regard to sex within marriage, one man for one woman. No.
Godspeed. Who was David Pakman? He's that little yellow. It's like he eats dots, you know? It's a side scroller, right? Yeah, his name's David. You didn't know that? Yeah. Yeah, the little yellow guy. His name's David. I don't know. I think the Miss Pakman, she's Nancy. David and Nancy. Yeah.
But we want to do whatever
they bunk in together, you know.
Want with sex, and therefore legalize prostitution. I tell you what, it's a good example. What happens when people are so lost, when they're so blinded by the devil, when they've totally rejected God. And
I love how he's just like, when they're so lost and wrong about everything because they're blinded by the magical, mythical imp. That's right. They're blinded by that magical imp there.
And out of the abundance of their heart, their sinful heart, the heart of man is sinful above all things and desperately wicked. Out of the abundance of that.
I mean, didn't Jesus say that everybody's super wicked anyway? So this kind of doesn't mean anything at all. Like, because, you know, everybody is evil. In fact, your righteousness is as of filthy rags. And I'm not going to go into detail about what they meant by the word rags, but it's not, you know, it makes men very uncomfortable. Let me just say that. But so yeah, it's kind of just everybody, dude. Like, there's no right and wrong in your religion, dude. It's just everybody's wrong, and then they say they're sorry to a wizard, and that's it.
Wicked heart, the mouth speaks, and this is what you're seeing. You're seeing what happens when God speaks in Romans 1, that he turns them over to their perverse ways. And that's what we're seeing. Now, for the next series of clips, Zoran Mamdani.
There we go. Now we're getting to the meat of the video here. It's the Mamdani. He says it so. Oh, let's hear him say it again.
Romans 1, that he turns them over to their perverse ways. And that's what we're seeing. Now, for the next series of clips, Zoran Mamdani is the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. And he's a fully recognized member of the Democratic Socialists of America. And so...
Why is that so scary to them? I don't understand. They're like, how dare people be against CEOs taking everybody's money in a company? That is evil. All right. That's the American way, basically.
I thought I'd comment on a few statements he has made. For instance, he's promoting universal childcare.
I've championed
Oh my God, how evil. What the hell is his problem? He should be locked up. Universal childcare? People having, you know, the time to go to work? Evil. What the hell?
Universal childcare, making a commitment to deliver it to New Yorkers with children as young as 6 weeks to 5 years of age. My administration will address this crisis by providing no-cost childcare to families with children as young as 6 weeks up until they're 5 years of age.
How can you be against that? Why? What? Like, I'm so curious. I haven't watched this far yet. I'm so curious as to like what his outrage is going to be about.
What's wrong with universal childcare? Free childcare, paid for by the government for all children, for all young children. Well, what that really means is the government wants to take your children and indoctrinate them and brainwash them in the anti-God worldview.
That's all, Joe. We do the brainwashing around here. You don't get to snake all brainwashing, all right?
In their anti-God propaganda. So they'll be just like these democratic socialists wanting to sacrifice children and destroy the family and do whatever.
Wait. They were saying they're going to take care of the other. Did they somewhere? Kevin, did you hear a part where they were saying they're going to sacrifice the kids that they're taking care of? No, I didn't hear that part either.
They want with sex. I mean, that's basically it. That's what it's all about. He also wants.
I love how he's like, that's what it's all about. And he just like says that just making shit up. watching your kids. What the hell does that have to do with brain? What do you mean? Like, you're saying that they because it's ran and paid for by the government, which is ran by your guy, man. It's ran by Trump right now. And he's like, but the government's evil if it's taking care of children because I want to brainwash them into evil Satanist stuff. I probably want to bring Satanists in to brainwash them into Satanism.
To make New York City an LGBTQIA sanctuary. In other words, totally supporting what God's word refers to as totally perverse.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Dude. It's called freedom, man. Like, Jesus. Like, it's crazy that, like, and all they're saying is like, hey, if you come here, you're not going to be harassed. Like, you can actually just live here. You can be, normal or whatever. Just live here happily ever after, whatever. And he's like, no, that is evil. They should be harassed out of existence. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
And the Bible makes it very clear that those people who...
The Bible doesn't make anything very clear, okay? Holy shit. I hate it when they say that. Like, the Bible's very clear about it. Fuck you. No, it's not. Okay, because I guarantee if you find whatever verse it is that they think it is saying, you can find just as many that say the fucking opposite. And then they all go, well, you're taking it out of context. Yeah, because you can just make up whatever context you want because it's a book of fucking riddles that you can just make up whatever you want to be able to believe whatever you want. Just like what you do, Ken, when you say that it's, the earth is 6,000 years old and stuff. You go, where the hell is that in the Bible? And they're like, oh, because of the names. They're like, hey, they begot this person, they begot that person. We added it up. Okay, so the Bible says what I said. No, it doesn't. Jesus Christ.
Who are involved in LGBTQIA.
What is it? Why is it so hard for you to say letters, man? It's just, it's like, what is the IA scary? Is the IA the scary parts of the letters? I don't understand.
Not going.
I hate that part.
To be in heaven, that they need to.
What is that?
Who are involved in LGBTQIA, they're not going to be in heaven. That they need to repent of their sin.
They're not gonna be in heaven. Weird, man. You're fucking weird.
Also wants to legalize prostitution.
Well, this does not.
Back to that, and the prostitution legalizing thing. Not only are they not going to be in heaven, but legal prostitutes. Yeah, and if you want to have some fun with some legal prostitutes, just go to adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley. And check out to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley. Adamandeve.com is America's #1 adult toy dispensary. Save yourself a trip to that sticky store. You know it's sticky. Where they got the bins, with the used stuff. Yeah, it's gross. Don't mess with the bins, y'all. Okay, it's not sanitary. But I don't even know why they have those. Anyway, go to adamandeve.com and you don't have to deal with any, pre-used dildo bins. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. You can just have it sent direct. You could take it right out of the packaging. It's, the packaging is discreet and it does come quickly. And so can you. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley. All right. I kind of forgot to do an ad for a while, so I kind of just did the whole. Did it a bit more lengthy one,
Decriminalize sex work. I would like to register my support for such legislation, my eagerness for that debate, and for my fundamental belief that sex work is work.
He is talking about legalizing sex work, and I think he's lost on the fact that sex trafficking is very much part of prostitution.
Because it's illegal, man. Like, you wouldn't need to traffic the people because it'd be legal. It'd just be like working at Starbucks, dude. That's what that would relinquish all of the trafficking aspect of it, dude. And the people would have their autonomy. They wouldn't be like kidnapped. The reason people get kidnapped and stuff is because it's illegal. Holy shit.
Again, the destruction of the family and do what they want to say.
Destruction of the family. Now you're just saying that randomly. Like you're not even trying anymore. He's just completely talking about some legalizing prostitution, destroy the family. And really the LGBTQ around destroy the family. And just what the fuck?
So basically, as you watch all these video clips, what you're seeing is a group of people who want to take your children and they want to train them in what
they want to take your children. Your children are the ones they want to take.
They want them to believe and indoctrinate them. They want,
but you can do it. Like I'm so confused by this. Like, how do you? It's so weird to be like they want to be in public schools, forcing their beliefs on children against those families' will. Yeah, we do that. I know, but I mean, but we're the good guys, okay? What the stuff that we're forcing on the kids is good, all right? We're trying to teach them that scientists are all satanic cabal of Illuminati. They evolution, they're evil, really. Okay, the scientists. Jesus, but if somebody else, which isn't even true, they're not. Nobody's trying to like indoctrinate their kids into like, I don't even know what the hell. They were talking about free childcare. How can you be mad about that other than just making shit up about it? Just saying that, oh yeah, and there's an indoctrination aspect of it. And the irony was that, the people there didn't even want to watch the kids. They couldn't even find childcare for their democratic socialist man. They're like, I don't want to be around kids. Those things suck, dude. What? No, let's. But they're out there trying to brainwash your kids. That's it.
To destroy the family. They want to sacrifice children. They want to be able to do whatever they want with sex, and it's total rebellion against God.
How do people take you seriously, man? So they want to brainwash children, but they also want to sacrifice them. I guess they brainwash them just before they sacrifice them to the idol. Like, well, I don't know what the point of that would be. They're just gone after that, right? What the fuck?
Is that what you want to see in New York City? Because that's what's coming if this person gets elected.
It's what's coming. Okay.
You know what all this reminds me of? Reminds me of Isaiah 5, 20 to 21. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Well, millennials, Generation Z, and Gen Alpha have a vastly different worldview, well, many of them do, than previous generations.
My goodness. God, Ken Ham is insane. Like, it's wild that this stuff works. That you can just, and it's like he sat there and he would play the clip and then be like, but what that actually is. And then he would say it is things that it just isn't. Just like his little wrap up there. And it's just like, as long as you repeat the bullshit enough, then I guess everybody gets scared to have free childcare in New York so they can actually go to work, without having to pay like 1/3 of their fucking salary. Jesus Christ. That's insane, man. What's up, John? How you doing, dude? Said those what is it? Inflow rates are misleading. You can't compare legal prostitution system, which siphon trafficked people into reporting mechanisms with black market estimates of inflow. Okay, yeah, I feel like maybe you're having a sidebar conversation with somebody about something. I need to start reading the comments before I just start reading them out loud. That'd probably be a good idea. All right, let me see what else we got here. Oh, that was since we're on a Fundie kick, right? The shocking truth about public schools. I wonder, are they're probably he's probably gonna tell you how they brainwashed them as they're tossing him into the grinder to McDonald Moloch or whatever, McMoloch Donald. Never mind.
And that impacts
Doesn't
how
work.
we share.
Oh, my bad. I meant to click that.
What if I told you that the public school system was never designed to make your kids smart, but to make them obedient? I'm saying built from the ground up, not to set them free, but to train them.
Oh my God. What the hell? I thought that you wanted obedient kids. Like, how are you the anti-obedient kids brigade here? Like, what the fuck?
For servitude. Stick with me.
One for servitude. Again, you. I'm like, how many like right-wing Christian families are like, I got all my kids to basically be the staff at my restaurant. Yeah, I had 10 kids, and that way I get basically a free staff that I don't have to pay. Yeah, so that's why you have kids, to get them to do all the work.
You see where the whole system came from. You're never gonna look at the classroom the same way again. But make sure that you subscribe first, turn on those notifications so you never miss any of these conversations for the family of faith.
That's pretty good. Thinking AM said, him assuming what God goes against, him assuming what goes against God is literal blasphemy. You can't decide that stuff. Only God can. All right. That's blasphemy right there. And not blasphemy that's a blast for me and a blast for you. But
as you're watching this, I'm actually away on a wedding anniversary trip with my wife.
No, you're not. You're right here.
We haven't done this in so long because we've been so busy. And today I want to talk with you about where public schools come from. For most of history, we didn't have schools like we do today. They didn't exist. Kids.
What's most of history? What are we talking about there? If you're talking about like public school, then okay.
Just learned about life from their parents. They learned about their faith. They learned how to work. They learned about family.
And people used to be fucking stupid, man. Like they were, the intelligence of your average individual skyrocketed when we had public education.
They developed their skills. Public schools in America actually came from a guy named Horace Mann, and he was impressed by the Prussian system that he had a chance to witness. This was in the 1700s. Prussia created something called compulsory schooling. And the goal was not to raise thinkers or leaders in Prussia. By the way, Prussia was the German Empire consisting of Poland, Soviet Union, Germany. And what they wanted was a nation of obedient, uniform thinkers.
Why not just bring up the Hitler Youth, dude? Like that, I'm surprised it didn't go there, exactly like the Hitler Youth. That's right.
Thinking soldiers, desks in rows, bells to move them on command, uniforms so that they all look the same.
Bells to move them on command. Are you talking the bells between classes? Is that what we're talking about here? Jesus, it's so weird that you can be this crazy. Like, this is crazy that public schools is trying to, brainwash your kid into being too goddamn obedient. That's the problem right there.
And then the propaganda education, which was the state is more important than the family. It was boot camp for kids designed as education.
Okay, but we don't do that, man. Like, okay, it's so weird to like conflate these things. Yeah, nobody does that. I mean, I think it's weird to have them like, do the whole I pledge allegiance to the flag thing, because that's fucking creepy and kind of culty sounding, really, pledging allegiance. If I had kids, I wouldn't want them to pledge allegiance to anything, especially some piece of fabric. But but he's totally for that. He's for people being forced to, he's for people like kids having to stand for that sort of thing and not having the right to sit down. It's so crazy how their beliefs are constantly contradicting themselves. It's incredible.
Well, Horace Mann in the 1800s, after the newly created United States of America visits Prussia, he's so impressed that he...
Yeah, Ember, exactly. Hey, Ember, how you doing? Ember said, tell me how you feel about patriotism, Kirk. Yeah. You don't want to go into that? Maybe put that put that right up next to this, what you're saying, and then, cognitive dissonance, that shit.
Brought the blueprint home with him and sold America on the whole system. He said, this is amazing. This is great. Now, Horace Mann was also the great-grandfather of the Humanist Manifesto. He was not a Christian Bible-believing believer like Noah Webster, who
you could just say Bible believer, that was weird. He's like the Bible believing believer of believing.
Was the great-grandfather of the Humanist Manifesto. He was not a Christian Bible-believing believer like Noah Webster, who was really the father of good American education.
Where are we getting all these crazies today? What is with all the crazy? And good kudos on the on all the wrench army that we've got. We've got a wrench army here. Thank you for that, y'all. Holy shit, what the hell's going on?
His goal was not only to decouple the scriptures from education, but he saw an opportunity as well.
Yeah, good, because we kind of like it to be education, where they learn about real stuff. I don't, it's like stuff that isn't stuff that's going to confuse them when you do try to teach them about real stuff. Like, hold on. When they go to the ag farm, they're like, how come this donkey doesn't talk? Do we need an angel with the lightsaber to get him to talk or something? Could we pray for an angel with a lightsaber to show up so we can see him talk? I really want to have a conversation with this donkey here.
To create a nation of obedient workers. Go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And so then by the...
Are you... What? How? Oh my God. How are you against this, man? Aren't you pro-capitalist? Like, what the hell's going on? Did he turn socialist? I'm very confused.
Early 1900s, we shifted in our mindset as Americans from owners of family businesses and skilled craftsmen to a nation of employees who depend on their bosses.
Do you not understand how many fucking people there are, dude? Do you not understand what happens when you're forcing all these people into existence because you need them to all not have access to, birth control and shit. But when we do have a bunch of kids, you're like, man, every family's just supposed to have their own business and that's it. Like, what? Nothing can work like that, man. There's too many goddamn people because of you.
And then in 1913, right on cue, the federal government income tax is established. Did you know that there was no federal income tax until 1913? From that point on, we became a nation of employees, of workers, a nation of taxpayers. When your income source is the taxes coming from all of the people, that makes you the biggest corporation in the nation. And here's the twist.
What?
Even at its own goal.
You're saying the government... I'm trying to follow this absolute, utter fucking nonsense. But he's saying in what is it, like 1913? He's saying we started paying taxes and, capitalism, everybody's workers or whatever. And because there's all these workers that are paying taxes, well, that makes them, the American government, the largest corporation out there. Scary stuff. Scary stuff.
Oh, the education system is failing. Look at all of the stats. We are sliding in.
Again, because of you. It's like every time a Republican gets into office, the first thing they slash the education budget. And then they use bullshit arguments like this. And then after they break the system, they go back and go, look, see, told you it's broke. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Yeah, because you fucking broke it, you dipshit. You fucking fucked it up. And then you want to point to it and go, see, it's not good. Education just doesn't work. Yeah, of course it doesn't when you defund it to all fucking get out. God damn, they're stupid. Like, it's just, I don't, and that's like Republicans' whole thing is like, let me break the government, right? Let me make it not work on purpose. And they go, see, look, it doesn't work. Told you. Government sucks. It doesn't do anything right. It's like, yeah, because of you. Because of you. Stop breaking it, and maybe it won't work. Maybe it'll work sometimes. Jesus.
Math, we're low in science compared to other nations around the world, while our spending on education explodes, and we spend more money on education than any other country on the planet. And that
what? Like what? Public education? Like the government spends more money on education, on public ed? Are you conflating like college and stuff? Because that is too expensive, and I agree that charging an arm and a leg for college education is insane. But what are you talking about? We spend more money that educates this number of kids? Like okay.
That's because public schools were never built for freedom. They were built for compliance. That's why money and investing and entrepreneurship is not taught in public schools. That's why critical thinking.
Entrepreneurship? What the fuck are you? Oh my God. You want to teach kids to all be rich kids. Is that what you want? You want to think, what you should do, kiddo? Be born rich. That's it. All right. That's the glass that egg. And then, you can do the stuff Kirk's talking about. That's
thinking. That's why the Bible always gets sidelined, because if the kids learned these things, they would step out of the machine. They would get red pilled and exit the matrix. All right, let's talk about.
Holy shit. What? Like how are they simultaneously like trying to they want the Bible taught in school, but then they're also like saying that school is just brainwashing you to be these subservient, mindless robots, or whatever. Meanwhile, that's what they do to kids. That they literally brainwash them, specific, and want them to be as mindless as possible. Like me being, one of the most difficult things that I've had to deal with in my life is deciding stuff. And it's just choosing to do things that I want to do, because I was taught not to do that. I was taught from a very young age, you don't do any thinking. Okay. You do what you're told, which is whatever I say God wants you to be doing or whatever. And if you do decide to choose things on your own, you feel guilty. You're like, that was the devil. That's the flesh right there. That's the flesh telling me what to do. Like, because they don't want you to be making decisions. They don't want you to be thinking critically. Like, are you serious? Like, was he literally just saying that he thinks that critical thinking would lead to people believing the Bible? Are you crazy? Because I do think that critical thinking should be taught in school. I do think logic should be taught in school. The reason I think that it's not is because it makes it real obvious that religion isn't true. I'm just saying, because it's illogical as all fucking get out.
Grades, because this is what breaks the spell. Think about the A students. They learn how to study and take tests. They know how to play the game. They follow directions. They ace the test. They end up becoming the best employees, and they get a nice paycheck. But
that's capitalism. What is happening? Kirk's gone socialist, y'all. I think Kirk has snapped out of it. He's like, capitalism, bad. It's just exploiting everybody, making everybody mindless robots that are forced to bend over backwards for some piece of shit CEO. And the CEO ain't even doing anything. It's all the people that are making him the money, but somehow all the money goes to that guy. Kirk's finally woken up to the no, he's just so goddamn bad shit insane. He's contradicting like all of his beliefs and doesn't even fucking realize it.
The C students and the D students, the ones who don't play the game very well, they don't fit the cookie cutter mold. They're the ones who are always asking why. Why do we have to do it that way? Why not do it this way?
I don't think those are the kids that are making D's and F's and stuff. They're thinking too hard. Is that what you're saying? Because usually they're the ones jamming crayons up their nose while they're eating mud in the sandbox when they're supposed to be in line heading to art class. Okay. I feel like I've attacked myself now. Now I feel personally attacked, and I'm the one talking. It's just what? How did I do that?
These are the ones who doodle ideas in the margins. These are the ones who often aren't showing up on time. They seem to be less responsible, but those are often the poor. They're poor people. They're poor. They're also, innovators, hungry a lot of times, and they, it's hard to think straight when you're hungry. You know what we should do? We should provide food for the children so that they can. Oh, that's right. You cut that. Never mind. I forgot you're against that. Want proof? Think of Albert Einstein, who often aren't showing up on time. They seem to be less responsible, but those are often the innovators. Want proof? Think of Albert Einstein. Famously, he was a student whose teachers once said that he would never amount to anything, yet he reshapes modern physics.
Are you fucking... What? Okay, here's what's happening here. Kirk didn't do well in school. I think that's plainly obvious at this point, right? Like he didn't. He was right next to me in the sandbox, eating the sand and shoving crayons up his nose, and eating paste, and then making some really funny looking eyebrows with the paste. You could you look like that one lady that goes "boo" in The Princess Bride. Remember that lady's eyebrows? Holy shit, they were crazy, man. Those are some eyebrows. I lost track of what I was saying. What are we, Kevin? You weren't listening either. God.
Or Thomas Edison. He was pulled out of school.
Oh yeah, Kirk did bad at school. That's it. That's all it is. He did bad at that's what he's like. That's why this whole narrative really it struck a nerve for him. So yeah, it's because I'm too smart. That's why I did so bad in school there.
After only 3 months, because his teacher thought
I'm like Albert Einstein,
that he was not able to think clearly and he was confused. So his mom homeschools him, and he goes on to invent the light bulb and 1,000 other inventions that he had patented.
Because of the homeschooling. That's what did it. Yeah. Jeez, it's so crazy when they push this, because it's like, do you really think that? I mean, and you got to remember too, the system that we live in, which is like capitalist to all get out, right? Which means parents are working 2-3 jobs, and you want them to homeschool. Yeah, that's how you get smart kids right there. That's brilliant. Not to mention, have you met most people? You really think they should be teaching kids? Really? Holy shit, most people shouldn't be teaching their kids, dude. Like, I'm just saying, like, even the homeschool moms, like, always, or just any mom, they're always getting to a certain point where they're like, I don't understand this schooling. So they come ask me stuff, and I'm like, Google it. I don't, like, but you want them teaching the kids.
Or think of Steve Jobs. He's a college dropout. He's rebellious. He's a nonconformist, and he creates Apple. His think different model, literally.
Are we saying that he didn't have any money to start with? Is that what we're doing here? How much did I don't know. I almost need to look this up now. He said Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs. Because I highly doubt. Did Steve Jobs have money? See, I was homeschooled. See what's happening here? I was homeschooled, and now I can't even ask Google a question because I was homeschooled. I blame you, Kirk. You encouraged my mom to do that. God damn it. Did he come from money? That was a bit. Steve Jobs come from money. No, Steve Jobs did not come from money. He was adopted by a working class family and grew up in a middle class environment, though they were not wealthy, and his adoptive father was a machinist and former Coast Guard mechanic. Jobs, the biological son of a wealthy Syrian father and unwed mother, was put up for adoption, raised by the Jobs family. Okay, fair enough. You know, see, I say when I'm wrong. All right, I don't just make stuff up like Ken Ham. But they adopted parents. So, like, what? He just started that without anything? How did he? Jobs co-founded Apple in his family's garage in 1976 with Wozniak. Oh, I've seen that movie. Yeah, it had the guy that laughs great, Seth Rogen. Yeah, it had him in it. He was the Woz. Huh. I forgot what like the money was that they came from. Anyway, you know what? It doesn't matter. Maybe he did come from money. Or I mean, he didn't. He didn't come from money. But you know what? Broken clock twice a day. You know what I mean?
Changes the way.
That's why I get stuff right sometimes.
That we all live today. Think of it like this. A students, they keep the engines running. But C students,
be careful how you spell it,
are often the ones who build new.
It's a bunch of videos about people doing what on money? What the? Oh my God! It's the money's all sticky.
Engines. So you may be discouraged that your child is not doing well in school. Maybe they don't fit the mold. Maybe they weren't even designed for the mold.
Oh, was Wozniak rich? Did he have the money? Who was the investor? That's what I want to know. Because I highly doubt they did all that with nothing.
Maybe God made them to make a new mold. Okay, so what should we do? Let's not just complain. Let's create something better. Take back the responsibility God gave to parents. Now, some will homeschool. Some will.
What? Hold on. I'm missing stuff. I'm sorry.
Maybe they don't fit the mold. Maybe they weren't even designed for the mold. Maybe God made them to make a new mold. Okay, so what should we do? Let's
talking about kids. Like maybe they don't fit the mold. I mean, but this is such an, you know, as somebody who, how do I say this without saying too much? Works very closely with, you know, and has most of my life with people that run public schools. I'm just going to put it like that. This isn't true. Like most of the teachers, they have like the mantra is 100% student success, right? Because they understand how so many different kids are different learners, and they understand that, like, yeah, standardized tests and stuff can be tough for some kids, and that's why they like give those kids special attention. Like every classroom that I'm aware of has like a special spot for kids to go work together when they don't understand something, right? Like, so if there's a couple kids or whatever that are just like having a bit more of a difficult time with a particular concept, they can go work with the other kids that are also having that hard time with that particular concept together, while the other kids do the other stuff so that they can get caught up, and the teacher will give them specialized attention so that they can be caught back up. It's not like this one size fits all, like you just have like a fucking DMV worker monotone just reading the curriculum or whatever from the front of the class, and that's it. That's the teacher he's imagining. Like, that is so not how it works. Like, the people, especially, you know, here in Florida where I am, like, the teachers make so little, they have to have a heart for it, you know? So, I mean, and they go above and beyond and bust their ass to make sure these kids get a good education, no matter what mold they're part of. Are there some shitty teachers? Sure. Yeah, of course. That's going to be true of literally any job. But for the most part, the teachers that are out there, they want kids to succeed, and they want kids to actually understand things to the point now. And this is crazy. I didn't realize this. That some of the teachers were doing this. You know how, like, you used to be able to do like the multiplication of fractions, right? And you would just flip them. You would do that trick where you flip them, right? And then you could, whatever, you would flip the second one, and it would, like, you could get the right answer. But like, I was talking to a teacher, and she was like, "Oh no, we don't do that." And I was like, why? She's like, because then they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand why the fractions are ending up the way they are. It's like, that's why I make them draw it out and actually put it on, like pies and stuff like that, so they can see the actual fractions and everything. Anyway, because they want kids to actually understand. This is like such a dishonest, it just pisses me off as somebody that was homeschooled, and really does actually support the public education system, because I was homeschooled, and I see exactly how much of a heart these teachers have for these kids, and then you're just vilifying them all when they're making hardly any fucking money, and busting their ass and putting their all into. Anyway, God damn it.
Not just complain, let's create something better. Take back the responsibility God gave to parents. Now, some will homeschool. Some will just move to a better school district. Some will cut back and sacrifice so that they can send their kids to private school.
Are they sacrificing other kids, or what do they sacrifice? I seem to only hear the word sacrifice from you people when you're talking about sacrificing children.
Others have used online academies, co-ops, and hybrids with their church. There's not just one method.
Hybrid.
The point is, it is your calling as a parent. Think about Deuteronomy chapter 6. We're supposed to...
That's it. Yeah, go to Deuteronomy. Jeez. Like other places, they're saying like stone kids to death when they talk back and shit, right? You're going to go to Deuteronomy. Yeah, my God, really? Holy shit.
Take these teachings that God has given us as parents and then pass them down diligently to our children and our grandchildren when they sit down, when they walk, when they lie down, and when they rise up. That's daily, hands-on discipleship, not government outsourcing. And the most important subjects to teach.
What is your deal with not like government outsourcing? So like what? So no standards. So first of all, no standards. Second of all, like no specialized anything, right? So no wheelchair ramps, I'm assuming, in these co-ops and stuff. No anything that helps any special needs kids whatsoever, because that costs too much. That's an inconvenience to the other parents in the co-op, because now they have to pay for a fucking wheelchair ramp, and their kid doesn't have a wheelchair. Why should they give a shit? That's why we need this sort of thing. This is why we need public education that provides the service for everybody. Because not everybody is a brainwashed dipshit weirdo that thinks that all teachers are Satanists, trying to brainwash their kids or whatever. Mainly because you guys are trying to brainwash your kids, and you're getting mad when teachers actually teach them to think a little bit more critically. It's literally the opposite. It's amazing to me how the people that are always like the con man, the people being, that are being conned, they also get conned into thinking everybody that's not the con is the con. You know what I mean? Like they're always just like, no, everybody that's telling you to think critically, they're trying to brainwash you. That's what's happening there. It's crazy. They can always do that. I think Ember and I were just talking about that the other day.
Your children are what the system won't teach them. The Bible and wisdom, money, business, and investing, communication, sales, problem solving. All of that with the back.
Where do we get all these people from? What was it? Was it because I put Pakman in the title? Like what is happening? This is crazy. Like everybody, all these because it said David Pakman gets called out. Oh, dark money. Maybe the dark money ties thing got all the weirdos showing up. Alex Jones? No, that's wrong channel. Sorry. Yeah.
Background of real history, real responsibility, real courage, and real freedom. So we can let the A students thrive.
Oh my God. Anarchy Fox is so right. Kirk has gone full MLM. Yeah. Multi-level marketing, which is ironic because so many people that fall for religion also manage to fall for multi-level marketing. It's weird. It's crazy. It's strange how that works. It's almost like the gullibility just leads to other people taking advantage of the gullibility.
With excellence and give the C students room to invent without crushing their God-given spark. Public education is failing our children and our families, but the system isn't actually.
Well, I mean, to be honest, money and basic, Godspeed said, to be honest, money and basic economics ought to be a standard part of a middle and high school curriculum, in my honest opinion. It is. Economics is high school. I mean, I don't know if you would say like your basic. I don't know what you mean by basic, right? But economics is definitely taught. I mean, the kids that go to elementary school, they go do what's called Enterprise Village, right? Where the first one they would go and they have to like work a job, and it's this little mini city, in one of the schools, and they would go like work this job or whatever, and they would have to do the books, right? And like the people that work in the other spots within this little mini city it's in a school, but it looks like a little mini city for kids, right? But there's a bunch of businesses, right? Looks like a mall. That's what it looks like. Anyway, but then they would come and spend their money that they made at their job on stuff at this other place. It just teaches you kind of like how the economy works in general. And then they do Finance Village or Finance Park. That's right. Finance Park was like the later one. And that one's a bit more boring. You pretty much get like given a salary, and you're provided a salary, and you have to like you're given a checkbook, and you have to like balance your checkbook, and you have to like pay your rent, and you have to like find a place to rent that's like affordable. And if you're poor, then you got to like find a roommate and all this type of stuff. Anyway, but they do teach that stuff. They do. I don't know. It's just people like this, and I don't I know a lot more about public education, I think, than most people, but other than people with kids, I guess. But that's just because the stuff I do, the work I do works closely with public schools, but that's it anyway. But yeah, they do.
Broken. It's functioning as designed.
Right. So that's where I learned to write a check. That's where I first learned to write a check. And then they stopped doing checks. You just got a card. They called it a check card, which was basically like a bunch of checks, except you don't got to fill them out, and you don't pay attention to how much you make, and then you end up in the hole, right? Because you weren't paying attention. You didn't actually do the ledger, right? That was just a big pile of ledgers that you kept at your house that you never used or anything, and then you overdraft a bunch. Anyway.
That's why we, as the family of faith, have got to take the lead, not complain, but create and raise kids who think clearly, who live courageously, and follow Christ above the classroom bell.
So you want them to follow Christ? Why should they listen to you, huh? Why? These people, I think these kiddos need to question. They need to start questioning why do we have to follow Jesus? Huh? Why do we need an undead carpenter ghost in our heart? Huh? Maybe this whole system is bullshit. Huh? You ever think of that? Like, it's so funny because he's just like saying all these kids that are going to public school, man, they're questioning the system. They're smarter than the system. And then he's like, and we just want to make them followers of Christ, as if like those kids wouldn't be questioning that. So it's okay when they question this system over here, but not this one over here. Of course not, right? My God.
You ever feel like we're living in days where our values are under fire? Of course they are. They always have been, but we don't have to compromise. Banking at America's Christian Credit Union allows you to use your deposits to fuel kingdom work. Work that supports families through adoption loans, through empowering moms in crisis pregnancies, strengthening churches, and making Christian education more accessible.
All right. And I do want to thank all of the Nazis for giving me so much play today. They're really going to help the algorithm put my content out. So I want to appreciate, I appreciate y'all and engaging too. You're just out here saying words into the chat and everything. man, really, really up in the engagement. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to delete everything that you say, but thanks for the engagement. You know, it doesn't matter if it gets deleted after, it still counts as engagement. Anyway, and if you want some engagement with adult toys, go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley. Engagement, did that work? I don't know. It felt right at first, but I don't know as if it works. Anyway, go to adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley and get your butt some stuff. And stuff your butt. Okay. And if you want to support the show, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, or you can do a bunch of other shit, right? You can become a patron, right? At patreon.com/Punk Apostate. You can do a one-time payment on Cash App, #Punk Apostate. You can hit that join button, become a member, right? And you get a bunch of extra content and stuff like that. You get extra live streams. They go straight to members after they go live sometimes. You can also join our Discord, where you can actually provide suggestions and things like that. And I will look at it every so often and do the suggestions. You know, I'll take the suggestions here or there. But also, you can follow me on all the socials, and all those links are below. But hey, thank you all so much for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. This was a good one. I enjoyed this. I did. But hey, you know, the main thing is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.